Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Pabs, a rising VTuber and an artist, and today we're going to be continuing work on the line art for page 13 here. So, one of the things that I kind of wanted to try and do is maybe make the toe of the boot here a little bit more like this. Because as it is, it almost looks like she's like on solid ground, right? I don't know, I feel like that gives the way that it is right now, it gives the wrong impression. So here's what let's do. I'm going to finish the kind of basic base art of it. So all my art is based. All right, I'm going to finish the base art of it, and then I'm going to play around with it, scaling and whatnot, and then I'll figure out what to do with the boot. I'd heard that the Canadians apparently have a different way from pronouncing boot compared to Americans. I think I just used. I think I deployed it just now. I think I said boot in boot or boot. I wonder how that difference came to be. I don't know. Maybe the British were here just a little bit longer, so the Canadians inherited some other syllabances or other ways of pronouncing the boot. That's right. You know, I've never seen the boot emoji used before in like a Twitch chat. From where I'm standing, it looks kind of clean. It's like a very well made emoji. I don't know. Most emojis, the job of emojis is first and foremost to communicate what they are. I remember there used to be this one Tumblr blog that used to just rate emojis from like different visuals, right? Like there's like 5 or 6 different emoji databases, which feels like a lot given how many of them there are. The art team for each of these, or like the artist for each of these, must have been greatly overworked. But yeah, I think I don't know. It's got like this nice brown hue, kind of orangish almost, but it gives the impression of like very well polished leather. It's a nice boot. It's a nice boot. Okay, then over here. All right, we shouldn't have too much more to go. Fun fact, I think the reason that this area here of the handle is like slightly different colored compared to the rest. So you see how there's this part right here that looks kind of brownish in metal rather than the ordinary kind of like gray metal that it should be? I think that's because I used a metal texture for the part out here, which is why it looks a little bit like the way it does. I don't know. I got this one really nice metal texture thing going with the disc on the big cannon apparatus from the comic, and I wanted to replicate that with these, but I was rather unsuccessful. That's probably for the best, though. Having access to that kind of technology would probably make me want to do a little bit, may go a little bit overboard on the detailing on the metal here, and that's absolutely not something that we need or want. Well, actually, no, I kind of want to do it now, but I really shouldn't. Let's not complicate our lives any further. Okay. Let's also do the jetpack while we're here. Or actually, hang on. What if I just kinda... Now, the boot is still bothering me. But at the very least, we have... Slightly better positioning. I don't know, it feels wrong somehow to have her over here, even though do you ever have situations where you look at something and you're like, okay, I know the way that this is supposed to go. It's supposed to make sense this way. But even though it's supposed to make sense that way, it just doesn't add up. For example, right here, my instincts are telling me that this should work. Like putting her here should work because then it almost creates like a sort of spiral, if you will. Like this. Well, I guess maybe the device being there is kind of interrupting my. Oh, but the spiral might be a little bit better if she's a little bit to the right. Maybe that's why. Okay. I don't know. Sometimes when it's hard to verbalize what's bothering you about something, it can be like, why is this bothering me though? Like finding the correct language to describe exactly what's bothering you can help you so much more in making it bearable. If you're just being bothered by like this oh hey Jupiter, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. I'm Babs, a rising VTuber and an artist. We just started. How are you? Hang on. How's your stream? You've been playing games from the Palace and Charity bundle, right? How have your picks been treating you? Have they been fun? Yep, and good. Nice. I'm glad to hear your stream went well. Okay, then move this one kind of like so. Yeah. I think the other day I talked about a cool little tabletop RPG that I found on there called Greed, which I'd been meaning to pick up actually. I remember seeing somebody post some pictures from it from the rule book on the server, and I've been meaning to check it out, but this was a great opportunity to finally get a handle on it. Not that I expected them to be poor, but surprisingly they all clicked quite well. Hey, that's good though. You know, even if you're not expecting them to be poor, some of them might just not click, like you said. So it's nice to see that you haven't had any misses just yet. That's a good sign. Good week for personal gaming. That's great to hear. Okay, then put this like this. Okay. Oh yeah, speaking of personal gaming, I've continued my playthrough of Fallout 3. And you remember how the other day I said that like the dialogue options for Fallout 3 just feel like I don't know how to put it. Like you have option 1, which is like a normal and sane person thing to say. Then you have option 2, which is like, oh yes, I also love murder and blood and violence also. And then there's option 3 where you're kind of just a sarcastic douchebag. And you get so many opportunities. Like the writers added so many opportunities to be a sarcastic douchebag that I'm wondering if like they're not trying to like tempt you with some of these. Like there's it almost feels like they're just there to make sure you're paying attention in case you accidentally select like a rude dialogue option. It's kind of interesting too because I've also been taking a look at a playthrough of somebody who's doing a Fallout 2 where they're doing like a pure unarmed character, which I thought was impossible. I was not aware that that was a thing you were allowed to do in that game. I've finished Fallout 2 exactly once, and even then I had to basically like renounce my principles and play a character who specializes in small guns and other kinds of weapons just so I could beat the stupid game. So I don't know, maybe seeing somebody take over the game with like an actual plan in mind for an unarmed playthrough rather than doing what I did, which is just like rush unarmed, go in there with Jinx and 10 luck like I did in Fallout 1. I don't know, it might be inspiring. It's also kind of interesting too. Replaying a game that you played as a kid, especially if you were playing it when you weren't supposed to play it just yet, like, you know, Fallout 3 is like M rated, right? You're not supposed to play those when you're like 15 or 14 or whatever. I mean, people play them anyway. You can't really stop them from doing that. Thinking about using guns in the gun game /J. Genuinely, that was like my problem, is that I'm insisting on playing every single Fallout game like a fucking like I'm fucking Kenshiro, and like, when in reality the entire there are like multiple. I don't know. Is it? I'm definitely the weird one, but like. I don't know. Sometimes I fail to notice just how much of an outlier I am. Like there there are so many goddamn guns in this game, and I am so uninterested in all of them. I'm making the game developers cry. They work so hard to have the art for these guns and the programming for them in place, and I'm over here just like being like, punch good." The amount of disrespect is honestly a little bit staggering. Come to think of it. Somehow another win for the Yakuza franchise. Fist of the North Star game is basically an honorary member. That's true. God, I keep forgetting that the Fist of the North Star has like a Yakuza studio game behind it. If I ever get around to beating Yakuza 0, I don't know, I kind of want to play through the whole Yakuza franchise on Steam, but that is a very big time commitment. I've mentioned this before, that's going to take me like actual years if I'm going at the pace that I'm going. I don't know, maybe the side diversion mini games, you know, like the Cabaret Club and whatnot, are slowing me down a lot. So I might have to figure out some kind of happy medium with those. I don't know, maybe it's better might be a strong word. Not as bad in other games. I'll just have to see. By the time you catch up with Kiryu, you'll empathize with his old manness. God. Yeah, I'm gonna be in the retirement home like, oh boy, it took a while, folks, but we're finally here. Yakuza 4. Oh man, it's really good that now I'm retired and now I can spend all day playing Yakuza games. Although it is unfortunate that due to my advanced age, my epic gamer reflexes have somewhat deteriorated. Oh well. Yeah, it's fine. I'll figure out some way or another to tiger drop these fools. Or my name isn't Pablo Riza. Brawl at the old folks' home. God, yeah. Look out, Peepaw's using essence of Salt of the Heavens. God. Grandpa going wild with the dancer style. Yeah, the break. So somebody's grandmother is just like absolutely whipping ass at the function using the breaker style. No holds barred. She's not taking prisoners. Nana, come on, please. You have to stop. The workers told us about this. You can't just keep breakdancing every time somebody steals your pudding. Ew! It'd be something like that, I imagine. Hang on, I might need to put the wings I might need to raise this part and then put the wings lower. Or actually, no, I could just raise this part to make the wings lower. Artificially. God. I just thought of a guy that to make himself seem taller, he doesn't like wear like platform shoes or try to like get surgery to increase his height. He instead makes his legs just seem unnaturally long compared to his torso, so that way he seems a lot taller. I don't know. Obviously, there are tall people, and that's how you look tall. But how do you like quote unquote look tall? Is it something about your poise? Is it something about your like posture? Oh hell, it's Slenderman again. Somehow this shit always seems to come back to him. We need to put like some kind of Slenderman embargo on this channel. Some kind of Slenderman cooldown. Some kind of Slenderman jar. If I talk about Slender, if the topic somehow veers into Slenderman for more than 2 days in a row, we need to like impose some manner of penalty on myself. Slenderman with the tiger drop. That's how he should have pulled up one. I wasn't supposed to tell you this, but that is what he does whenever like somebody thinks to pull out a gun on him. You know, he doesn't stab him with the tentacles. He gets him with a tiger drop. That's how he does it. And now I know what you're thinking. But Pabs, doesn't this mean that technically Jeff the Killer would then have access to Majima's styles? And the answer is a resounding yes. Pabs art takes a sudden dive into a creepypasta nostalgia era, but only through the lens of glamour and brawler violence. Yeah, that's the elevator pitch for the fighting game that I'm working on. You know how like how some companies joke on April Fool's Day, like, we're totally releasing this dating sim visual novel of our characters, and you know that's supposed to be like a whole bit. That's gonna be my April Fool's bit. It's gonna be an arena fighter too, just to make sure that nobody's happy with it. Once Dating Studios wraps up with the Hunter x Hunter thing that they're doing right now, I need them to hop on this. Yeah, stream number one of this new era is going to be a tier list for sure. Who, which one of the creepypasta? Hmm. Okay, this is going to take some thought though. I was going to just be like, which one of the creepypastas wins in an all-out brawl? But that's like a normal power scaling argument. That doesn't have enough pizzazz. You play as Majima at the club dressing up the girls. It's just that the girls are Jeff the Killer. In the same tone as Megan the Stallion. Jeff the Killer? I feel like Megan the Stallion has the gumption to survive a creepypasta story. I don't know. Some folks you just get a measure of their character and you realize, yeah, they're them. They're the one. Come to think of it, dress up doll games have been overdue for a comeback. We might have a real market or something with this on our hands. Okay, then over here. She's been in film, so there's a non-zero chance of her walking all over some nasty horror like killer. Yeah. That is strange to me. Why aren't more horror films set in Hollywood? because you have like these like cult horror films, you have these like murder horror films where like there's just some creepy dude with a knife out in the Midwest. But like how many? I feel like the set of like a movie is an underrated murdering location. Like for the big climax especially. Why can't we get some terror going on in Tinseltown? That's my question. Are the movie producers scared that they'll like jinx themselves and then like a real murder person is gonna be going after them in Beverly Hills? Is that the concern? Just jinxing it? I don't know. Movie producers don't strike me as a superstitious type. Evil Dead 4 was a surprise Megan cutting down evil with a chainsaw. That would go so hard actually. I love Ash Williams, right? But I feel like it's about time. I feel like a quote unquote woke version of the Evil Dead would be so is kind of what's necessary in the market. Like, I'm using the term woke loosely here, like, and also approvingly. Next time around, Ashley Williams needs to be trans mask. Ashley, it's time for your tea shot. God. And so, okay, I'm gonna say something kind of cursed. Instead of that scene where like he has to cut off his hand and his hand starts messing around with him, it's like he does top surgery on himself, but like then the boobs start like messing around with him. All right, that's the end. That's the end of that thought. That's as far as that one goes. That's literally all there is to that thought. That there's nothing else. That's all I had. That would happen. It kind of would. I would believe it would happen to Ashley Williams. Good news. You have you you're now on Supernatural HRT. Bad news. Your transition experience is going to be wildly different from everybody else's. All right, let's just plonk this one down over here. The goofy ass silicon puppets bouncing on the floor going, that would be funny. I feel like an underrated joke in Evil Dead 2 is that when he does get his hand cut off, he has to like weigh it down with a book, to keep it from like messing around the place. And the book is a farewell to arms. I always thought that was like an underrated joke. Okay, there we go. I don't like putting this scrap of fabric here because it's gonna interrupt the elbow. Let me see if I can't put this somewhere else. This place might work. Although I do fear that is far too much fabric for like what actually got ripped apart. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we could just say that these are supposed to be like very small and they just look big because of how close they are to the camera. I don't know if we need two, though. Actually, hang on. This one here can stay, because I already cut the line that goes through it, so I'm gonna just rearrange this one. I'll run it by Raph. Let's see what I'll see what he thinks and get back to that. All right. Add these here. All right, very good. The thrower. I'm a chuckster. I'm a little. I have a little bit of regret that I never ended up playing Super Mario Sunshine during my childhood. I never got the chuckster experience. I did get to play Mario Galaxy though, and that one kicked my ass. I'm not gonna lie, this is something that I noticed during Fallout 3 as well, during my playthrough of that. I think I might have just not been. Obviously I'm not like a god gamer now, but I don't think I was very good at video games as a child. Because I'm going through some of these places in Fallout 3, and I remember like, oh man, I hate going to this place. This place sucked so much when I played it the first time as a teenager. And I'm in there, and it's so easy to navigate that it's almost embarrassing. I'm like, oh, so for idiots. You made this for like idiots to traverse. And then I realized I might have just my brain might just not have been developed enough to like navigate some of these very rudimentary puzzles. And I get the feeling that's going to be the same way for like Mario Galaxy, that like some of it will still be fairly challenging because you know that is just like a Mario game, they can be challenging. But also like I'm going to have a huge advantage in that I'm no longer like 7 years old trying to beat that part. That's just I think that's just how life goes. Of course, I think I do reckon that this also means that I am currently in like my gamer prime, so to speak. So I'm going to need to leverage that very carefully. Hopefully, by investing meaningful hours of it into a fighting game. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna be like an old martial arts master, and I'll just get better at gaming over time. You know, I was joking earlier about playing Yakuza in the retirement home, but who knows? It might actually be that I have an easier time when I'm older at playing these games. Little notification buff. No longer a child. Then you get hit with ones like debuff has a job. Yeah. No, I'd be a top contender at Evo if I didn't have this stupid job keeping me fed and keeping a roof over my head. What a fool I am for pursuing a meaningful place in society. I remember somebody there's this Twitter account called peppery.text or that's like a retelling of like what this one FGC player Peppery Splash has said. And one of the quotes that isn't attributed to him, but is about him, is like this anecdote that somebody is like, yeah, I've seen Peppery Splash almost miss the bus to locals like 5 or 6 times. Like it's a consistent issue for him. And this man placed like top 8 at Evo last year. Guilty Gear rewards the wrong people. I do reckon that the thing is, right? It's not necessarily like the bus thing. But I do think you need to have something a little bit wrong with you to be the very best at anything. Because not necessarily because like it's not so much a correlation slash causation kind of deal so much as it is like I do think it is like a correlation kind of thing. Because if you have something wrong with you, and like that guy had like he can't get the bus properly, right? But as he kind of accumulate these, shall we say, eccentricities, you become more capable of becoming focused on something. Right? Like there has to be a reason that you became so focused on this. And I do think that quote unquote whatever is wrong with you, that's just like a turn of phrase that I'm using. It can't I am essentially referring to eccentricities, which I feel has a much better tone, so I think I'll be using that from here on out. It makes for great stories down the line. That's another positive about it, I suppose. I remember reading this one discussion of like the different kinds of like quote unquote fun stories, right? And there's the first kind, which is a kind of, it's pleasant to remember and it was pleasant then too, right? So, going out to a really good ice cream place, getting to go to an amusement park, things like that. Things where there's like no argument to be had that, oh yeah, no, the experience kind of sucked. No, it was it was a good time. It was a good time, and you can tell stories about that good time that you had. Reminisce on that, and everybody's like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. No, we've all had experiences like that. Where it was just like a plain good old time. Then there's the second type of fun story, which is the one that's fun to remember but not fun in the moment. This is stuff like some kind of tribulation that you had to undergo, some kind of challenge that you had to meet that it basically wrecked you at the time. But you can look back on it and it was like, ah, yeah. Now in retrospect, that was kind of funny. Then there's the third type of fun story, right? Now, this type of fun story isn't fun to experience, and it isn't particularly fun to remember, but you do still get a story out of it. That's the thing, that it sucked, it was awful, you would not want to repeat it again, but you still have the memory of that time and you have the story to tell from it. That's like a third type. And that's the kind of one that's like it makes for great stories. That's what I think is it's the closest possible analogy that I have. It's not even an analogy, it's like a closest relevant example that I have. Okay, then over here. My friend quirk is saying, oh, funny story, then proceeding to tell something that just happened to me that horrifies my friends. Oof. Well, I think the good thing about that is then that you're at least consistent with it. If that's your kind of go to move, then I think you can kind of Pavlov train your friends to kind of expect. Oh God, Bunny said they have a funny story. I think if you do it consistently, if they have like any kind of brain plasticity to them at all, they'll begin to understand. Humans are very strongly wired to detect patterns. So, like I said, if you're consistent with it, then I think even if it's a quirk, it serves. It's good that you kind of have a warning system, so to speak. I think that's exactly what happens. God. Well, on the other hand, if you can introduce them as funny stories, I do think that means that you must have a strong spirit. Because if you're like, oh, dude, that was kind of funny in retrospect, to something that regularly horrifies other people, I think that means you may very well be built very different. So own that. Be proud of that. Unless it's just out and out sarcasm, in which case that's also kind of funny. Okay, then cut off this part of the thing right here. I forgot that. Hang on, I forgot that she has like a third one right down the middle. I'm gonna need to go back to this panel up here. Let me grab this real quick. Okay, then erase this and this. Okay, then over here and here. Sometimes I feel like I'm one of those laser precision machines that just needs to look within like millimeters of space to make their precise cut. I can feel the CSI guy in my head going like enhance, enhance, enhance. There's no way that CSI shows still aren't being produced, right? I feel like CSI used to show up so often when I used to watch TV with my parents that I have a hard time believing they're still not making more of that TV show. Hang on, CSI media franchise. Oh God, franchise? Crime scene investigation, investigation, cyber. CSI Miami, CSI Vegas, CSI New York. Christ, hold on. Let me put this on blast. Let me put this on blast real quick because I gotta show this. Where's my web browser? There we go. So this is a Wikipedia article for CSI, the franchise. Get a load of this. CSI Crime Scene Investigation. 15 seasons plus the finale, which aired on 2015. CSI Crime Scene Investigation was airing for longer than I have been like a teenager. Well, no, that's true of most people. All right, CSI Miami, 10 seasons, ended 2011. CSI New York, 9 seasons, ended 2012. CSI Cyber, ended 2015. CSI Vegas is ongoing? Hot damn. Rating 20. Wait, hang on. Out of how much is the rating? How much is the rating out of? Because those seem like pretty low to me. Like 6.8 and 5.66 do not seem to be like, they don't speak to me of being like heavy hitters. God. Oh, long-standing media property, we have to put you down. We have to take you out back behind the shed. You should not be alive this long. You are a corpse that should have long ago stopped moving. Christ. How many of these are there? Okay, 22 episodes, 2 episodes for the finale. These other ones didn't get finales, though. Like, these other ones just got the plug pulled on them. And what happened in 20... No, because, like, okay, this one ended in 2017 or 2015. CSI Miami and CSI New York both died in like a 1-year gap between them. There was almost exactly 1 year between these two that where the first one died and then the other. What happened in 2012? Was the Maya calendar thing just like true but only for CSI? Is that what happened? Oh Lord. Like sometimes I don't know. It's just crazy to me now, being that we live in the kind of quote unquote streaming era, right? It's crazy to me that one, a show can run on for so long, and two, that it can run despite those abysmal ratings. Because I feel like those ratings were kind of abysmal, right? I don't know. Do they rank it out of a 25? 25 seems like a lot. Or 25 seems like it would make some of these a lot, but some of these also not very much. I don't know. I don't know enough about television ratings. Or maybe it's like it's like one of those opposite day kind of things where the higher it is, maybe it was like, oh, it's number one in the ratings, number two in the ratings, kind of like the billboard things. But that wouldn't make any sense either, because then that means that the older seasons that lasted for like 15 years ended up not being as successful as the ones that have only recently been launched, which is hardly ever the case. At least I feel like it is. I haven't thought about CSI in like years. All I remember from them really is that they had some goth lady working as like the mortuary assistant or something. The autopsy specialist, I guess, would be the proper title. If I had to give it one, I don't know. There's probably like a proper name for the people who handle bodies at like police departments. The cadaver man, sir. Okay, then over here. And over here. I'm gonna stretch out my wrists a little bit. Okay, then over here we can have the holster belt kind of begin. Did I ended up washing my tablet glove? If you've never seen these before, these are these little 2-finger gloves that I got with my Huion tablet when I ordered it like 10 or 10. Definitely not 10. 4 maybe now? When did I get this tablet? It was definitely before I left university, so I want to say maybe 4 years back. But yeah, I got this glove and another one. I think they came as a pair for some reason. I guess it was to replace one if the other one got busted, or maybe it's for ambidextrous people. I don't know. But the thing about this glove is that I do need to clean it every now and again. And when that has to happen, it is just very much like the standard thing that you do for any work clothes. A little bit of detergent, a little bit of vinegar if it starts to stink a little. Just make sure that there's no bugs in there. And I don't know, there's like this kind of fulfilling feeling that you get when you take care of something that you use as a tool regularly. I used to think that people were joking about how some people can like enjoy maintenance on their equipment and whatnot, but I'm starting to see the charm in it now. Taking care of the things that take care of you, you know? Okay, then over here. There we go. Yo, if we can finish the line art on this page today, I'm going to pop off a little bit. We're still a little bit far away from that, but if, like I said, if we can swing it, I'm gonna pop off for a little bit. Okay, then over here. Okay. Perfect. We can add a few more wrinkles back here to show that she's being turned around. Or maybe just a few small ones on the clothes. Okay. Very good. Oh, forgot a bit right here. That should be fine to take care of now, though. I kind of went hard on these wrinkles right here. I do like how the clothes folding turned out right here in the sketch. I'm going to try and keep it replicated. Oh yeah, those are some nice action lines. All right. Let me lower the stabilization a little bit so we can have a little bit of a sharper turning. I remember I mentioned a little while back that supposedly using thinner line art will help you improve your art, or at least your understanding of certain things. I do wonder if. What? I forgot the point I was going to make. Dang it. Okay, let me try and mentally retrace my stuff because I feel like I had a neat parallel to draw. Okay, so we have improvement in art using thinner line art. Over here. Hmm. Maybe if I turn off the reference layers, I might be able to see it a little bit more clearly. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, now I remember. Friggin' okay. So if using thinner line art is supposed to be able to help you with art, does not using stabilization also help? Because I feel like if anything is like a quote unquote crutch, there's no such thing as a crutch in art. But I feel like if there is one thing that might hold you back from kind of developing the right motor skills for some of this stuff, I feel like it would definitely lie within the stabilization features. Because in reality, most of what you can achieve with stabilization, you can also achieve with just a decently steady hand. Sheesh. There's two major career paths in this world that require very steady hands. One is an artist, which has very limited consequences if you fuck up the stroke, and the other one is a doctor, which has deep consequences if you fuck up the stroke. Honestly, it's a good thing that I never wanted to go into medicine. I feel like my bedside manner would be just the worst. I think and that's the main reasons I like it, since it's an accessibility feature to me. Yeah. No, and I do think like as well like and that I feel like that's the most useful component of it is that it is just a nice accessibility feature. Not to mention, it takes a little while to get used to drawing on a digital pad if you've ever only used pen and paper before. So I think it's very useful for those people as well. I remember a friend of mine, Preston, is trying to get into art. Right, he's trying to learn how to draw. And when I talked to him about the stabilization tool, I think he didn't like it at first, but then he kind of understood why it was useful. I don't know. I guess some people will also just not like to use it as well. It's definitely one of those situations where it's better to need it than not have it, and not need it than need it and not have it. Okay, then over here. But yeah, between now and whenever I decide to, I don't know, maybe eventually do something with my OCs with the comics, I need to figure out a way to start speedrunning creating these pages. I do think a valuable component of that is going to be two things. One, learning how to not rely on the undo button, and two, learning how to not rely on the what do you call the stabilizer, because I feel like with the stabilization on, or rather with the stabilization off, your strokes are just that much faster. So I think if you practice a little bit of finesse, or rather, if I specifically practice some more finesse, I might be able to just keep going quickly and quickly and quickly. It's not a good idea to tie your productivity to everything you do and learn how to do. But I see it as a sort of necessity for what will otherwise become a year spanning problem of just me spending way too goddamn long on these pages. Okay, then over here. Very good. Like, I definitely feel like I'm going faster with the stabilization off. I don't know. That might fully be just like a kind of Rock Lee dropping the weights kind of situation, though, where I only think I'm faster because I perceive time to be faster. I mean, in Rock Lee's case, he was the real deal, and he was just straight up faster. But I'm saying in my circumstance specifically, that's a risk that I run into. Does this work? Yeah, I think this works. Okay, and like this. Nope. Something about that doesn't seem right. Something about this doesn't seem right. Are the fingers too long? That's part of it. I think this thumb is what's fucking me up now. Oh wait, I can just bring back the model reference. Doy. Let's take a look. Okay. Looks like I definitely over exaggerated the index finger here. Let me try this again. Or maybe hang on. Maybe I can try to exaggerate the line here a little bit. Let me try something. Okay. Okay. No, wait, I'm just drawing a second reference. I don't think this is going to be that useful. Let's avoid wasting time on that. I should just try to line it normally and then see if it's still lacking some punch. Okay, then over here. Move this like this. Then like this. These fingers are kind of kicking my ass, huh? I've heard of catching hands, but this is a whole nother level. I don't know. It's always humbling to me whenever I get caught up on like one specific thing. That's what I've noticed. My thing is that in a drawing, I'll be like, yeah, these lines got hands. I'm gonna fight these lines. Damn, these lines are kind of tough. I do feel like that is something that I've noticed happens to me frequently. Is that it'll be like smooth sailing for like a lot of the drawing, and then there will be like one little detail that trips me up a lot. And it could be anything, right? It could be hair. It can be like a certain angle on something, but it'll always be like one or two details, and they will beat my ass. Hang on, I gotta check the jetpack model a little bit because I feel like I don't remember where the bolts are supposed to go on the jetpack. Are they inside or outside? Okay, yeah, no, they're innings. Okay, I need to move the ones up here then. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I've stopped being like bad at drawing things, so to speak. Right? Like, yeah, we're always learning, right? I want to be encouraging and say that there's like no such thing as a bad artist, but there are definitely times when you feel like your skill level doesn't quite match what you're trying to do, and so the end result is a little bit wobbly. Like I've moved away from that. Now I'm pretty confident I can draw pretty much anything. But the flip side of this is that now, whenever there's like a challenge to me, it feels like a little bit even like more frustrating than if I was like, ah, man, I just don't have the skills for this, because I know I have the skills for this. I should be able to resolve the issue, and it's causing me this much trouble. I don't know. It can just be kind of galling, but again, it's just one of those things that keeps you humble, I suppose. I don't know. Like even with backgrounds, there's usually like one or two things. I think backgrounds are actually my most linearly progressive component now. Like I'm not the fastest at backgrounds, but they seem to obey a very linear sort of. It's like usually when it comes to backgrounds, I don't have that one thing that challenges me like when it comes to normal drawings. I either know I either finish the background or I just need to keep working on it, and eventually it'll be finished. But now with like character drawings, I feel like sometimes I'm just like going in circles a little bit. I don't know. It's an interesting development. Hmm. Yeah, I should move this one down a little bit. Okay, then over here, perfect. Okay, then over here. And over here. Okay, almost done with the arm. And after that, it's just kind of moving on to the background. Or rather, the part of the ray gun that'll be in the foreground. I don't know. I feel like I can probably use a dark sky, not PNG, but essentially just like some kind of dark sky asset that I can make in any one of these pages to make up the background of the sky here. I don't know. I feel like it'll be kind of simple, but I really shouldn't underestimate it. Okay. The main issue, I think, will be figuring out where and when to structure the rest of the dome that's supposed to be covering this thing. Whoa! I just dragged myself around. Okay, maybe we can futz around with the circle a little bit. See if that provides any insights. I completely forgot Hawk's glasses and everything, didn't I? My fault. Let's just go back real quick and fix that up, shall we? Okay. Increase it this way. There we go. And over here. Nice. Okay. Would the lipstick mark be visible on this side too? Yeah, I think it would. Right, left side, right side. Yeah, it would be. Let me add some text here then. Because of the color of this, the color that I've got it on right now is kind of like a nice kind of minty color, isn't it? It reminds me a little bit of like the Kickstarter logo. And the kind of tone that one has. Okay. Oh yeah. Recently, a VTuber who's been inactive, Mint Fantome, I believe her name is. She started streaming again, and a lot of people are happy to see her back. I kind of want to do like an expression study of her model because I don't know what it is about her model. It just makes like these very funny faces that I kind of want to study. I don't know. It's hard to describe the expression. It almost has like a frog-like kind of feeling to it. I don't know. I kind of want to see. I kind of want to see what makes it tick. I want to see it in action. Because some people snap green caps of her talking with her model. This is the connected vector lines tool. I should not be using that. I'm looking for the adjust line width one. There we go. That's better. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I don't know. I like most VTuber designs, but there's a few of them that make me go like, oh, dude, I want to learn how they do that. I've joked about it before that I have like a Live 2D folder in my computer that's calling out to me like the Green Goblin mask. I don't know. I've sworn off Live 2D stuff forever, pretty much. Never again unless I absolutely positively like I'm in a saw trap and there's no other escape. Kind of not gonna go back to it. That's a rather drastic scenario, but that's kind of how that's the strength of my conviction. Because I don't know, there were some pretty rewarding parts to Live 2D rigging, but there were also some parts that weren't very rewarding at all. I don't know. Maybe it'd be easier if I had a. Maybe I'd be more fond of it if I had a more conventional model. But even then, that would just create way more work, like in just eyes, eyebrows, stuff like that. Well, no, I guess I still got technically kind of an eyebrow situation going on. But yeah, I don't have to worry about noses. I don't have to worry about like which way my eyes or something are facing. In that regard, it's very convenient. But I don't know. All the same, I still get a little bit jealous when I see somebody who has a really nice Live 2D model. I'm DIY till the day I die, for sure, but I do get tempted sometimes. I do get tempted to like find somebody to like make a model for me. I don't know. That feels wrong though. I feel like my whole thing in this channel so far has just been making my own thing. The only things that I use, except for the music, which is on the plate. We do have that on the docket at some point to learn how to do. So even that is still just like an eventuality. You haven't just spill rice everywhere. God, yeah, I'm like one of those super messy. I'm like one of those glasses that has, those trick cups that have a thing so you spill water when you try to drink out of them. It's kind of like that, but whenever I open my mouth, I just like a little bit of rice slips out. It's like I've got like a mouthful of nuts, like a squirrel. Like, have you ever seen that one? It's like cooking. Sometimes you just want someone else to do it. Yeah, that's true. And like, do you guys remember that scene from A Bug's Life where the locust smacks like this hamster bottle or whatever of like wheat or pellets or whatever they eat, and it just like spills out everywhere? That's gonna be my mouth whenever I open it in this theoretical model that I'm commissioning. If you stream for too long, you're buried in your own rice from all the talking. I'm getting cask of Amontillado by myself. God, I feel like that would be my version. You know how like some people when you know in some locked room scenarios, the concern is that they're going to run out of oxygen eventually. If they're in a perfectly vacuum sealed room and they're as trapped and such, and they need to escape, they're like, "Oh God, we're going to run out of air eventually." Before instead of like, "Oh God, we're going to starve eventually," or something like that. That would be kind of like me, but that's the only scenario where I would be threatened in that because eventually I would not be able to resist the urge to yap. Like you would catch me not even half an hour later, just like singing Bohemian Rhapsody just to pass the time, and the rice would slowly be rising to my ankles. Good thing you're not a glass of wine VTuber. You'd make your own room look like a murder scene. Call that the grapes of wrath. Are there just I don't know. I feel like in terms of uniqueness, right? I do think that I'm unusual, but I'm not unique. But I do wonder if there's just a dude out there walking around that's just got a wine bottle for a head. Perignon had ass, Perignon is a type of wine, isn't it? Or is that a champagne? Nope, that is champagne. I fumbled. I fumbled that shit. I could have said Merlot. Merlot is such an easy. That's like the underhand throw of wines. Like if somebody tells you name a red wine but you can't say Merlot, that's when you should start sweating. But otherwise, you're just like it's just normal. The the potential wine name's got to be so good, right? I remember I had notes for an idea of like a beer-based VTuber. Like my idea was that like somebody put a thing of beer in a Hadron Collider, and it just created a sentient person. And I remember the name was like I think like it was like Icebox or something like that because that's the name of like a chilled beer that is produced or something, or like some kind of ice beer. I don't know too much about wine. Also, I do need to open up, I think, either page 2 or page 3 because I do not remember where the holes on this thing were. Your VTuber name is Baby Names from 1831. Plus, your mother's favorite wine. By that logic, in a few years, we'll have somebody called like Edward Pingus. Have you guys seen the Pingus wine? Do we know about the Pingus wine? Is the Pingus wine common knowledge? Hang on. Ah, yes. My favorite wine, Flor de Pingus. Embotellado en dominio de Pingus. Oh god, and it's a Spanish wine too, isn't it? Does that mean that we pronounce like Flor de Pingus? Oh, Flor de Pingus? I don't know. Or if it's like a Spaniard Spanish kind of thing, would it be like Flor de Pingus? A Spanish winery located in Quintilla de Onesimo in the province of Valladolid, with vineyards in La Horra area of Ribera del Duero region. The state's flagship wine, Pingus, is considered a cult wine, sold at extremely high prices while remaining very inaccessible, and commands an average price of $811 per bottle. Repeat that? Small price to pay for a little bit of Pingus. In my opinion. Oh, God. What else can you tell me about this wine? Production. Planted with very old vines of Tinto Fino, the vineyards are 2.5 hectares in Barroso with vines exceeding 65 years and 1.5 hectares in San Cristobal with vines older than 70 years, and the unusually low average yield of 12 HL per hectare. Since 2000, the viticulture has been biodynamic. Don't know what any of that means. Of the annual production of Pingus, there is typically less than 500 cases, though in poor vintages, no Pingus is made. No Pingus. No Pingus? The production of the second wine, Flor de Pingus, also 100% Tempranillo, is made with fruit from rented vineyards in La Horra zone, with vines older than 35 years. Since the 2005 vintage, the viticulture has been biodynamic. What does that mean? What does biodynamic mean? Hang on. Biodynamic wines are made employing the biodynamic methods to grow the fruit during the post-harvest processing. Thank you. That explains fucking nothing. I should relax. Alright, biodynamic agriculture. Okay, much in common with organic approaches, emphasizes the uses of manures and compost, and excludes the use of synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides on soil and plants. Okay. So biodynamic, from what I can read, is just emphasizing the idea of like there being a system between, say, the manure, the flower, the soil. It's like recognizing that. I see. So it's kind of like same, not same principle as, but similar in principle to like crop rotation, where you're trying to pay attention to the soil's health and whatnot. Okay, I can understand that. I can grok that. Okay, so we got a big old hole here on this side. The hole here for doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me at all. The hole. Okay, so we got a big old hole to the right. 2 stomps this time. So I guess that means that we'll have like some. We should draw the gun first. I think that might help a lot. Let us draw the big one. It looks so much more cheerful. Like, compare this, which looks so menacing, to like this, which looks almost cheerful. Hmm. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like when I don't use the what do you call the stabilizer, the lines also get a little bit simpler, which makes them easier to handle. You know what I'm looking forward to the most out of the next Death Stranding game? This is kind of related to this idea of like the VTuber wine names. Is the fact that we're gonna get peak names like even like Evil Dead Man or Die Hard Man and shit like that again. I've missed those. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of dug those a lot. I don't know. It's almost like a cheesy superhero cartoon, but it's got such a much more interesting idea of like mystique behind it. I cannot explain succinctly why, but there's something about it that just makes you wonder. Like, okay, so we kind of understand this guy's deal from his name, but what's he actually like? Because like it's not like a Mega Man kind of thing, right? Where you got this dude called like where you got like this dude called like Burn Man who uses fire. You got this one dude called like Electro Man who uses electricity. You got this one dude named Top Man who is very private about his preferences. We're not allowed to ask about those. But you know, when you have a dude running around named like Die Hard Man, right? Like this guy must have died hard as hell to earn a name like that, right? I don't know. I find it interesting. They say that a character design should tell a story about a character. I think that's also a good idea for names. You know, as far as names are concerned, that's also something you want to do with their names. I'm not very good at that. My naming schemes are usually either based on some kind of pun or I just go in behind the names to try to find something appropriate. Or I just base it off of like some kind of historical or mythical figure. You know, something like that is usually my go-to approach. Or I just use something that's kind of similar enough. Like, for example, I remember one character. There's like this character in the Song of Roland called Blanchandrin, I think, and that name is kind of unwieldy to me. So I just called the guy that I based him on Blanchard, and that worked pretty well. I think there was also this other dude called like Marseilles, and I called that guy Martin Celia. You know, something like that. This is especially easy for stuff like what do you call with like older epics and whatnot. Because most dudes in those stories just have one name that you can just that's usually like 2 or so syllables, so you can split it well, kind of easy. Okay, have this here. Can I just shrink this circle and use this here? Am I allowed to do that? Is that a sanctioned action? Okay, then over here. Maybe I should have left the dome until later. I don't know. Okay. Simplify this line here. Okay, that works. Actually, we can get rid of this one too. This one can also be removed at this point. Okay, let's grab this one and... There we go. Alright, one more of these should do the trick. That way we can use that for the glass right here. Just expand it a little bit. And then round this out right here. I wonder what I should do for dinner. I don't really have anything prepared. I should go buy some bread tomorrow. I've got a dentist appointment to get my teeth clean. Ironically enough, that happened all before the... I had like a dentist appointment scheduled right before my... not right before. I had a dentist appointment scheduled for the week after I broke my permanent retainer. So I was wondering if they might be able to take care of it during that time. They were like, we could just like slot you in for something for like a new appointment, and we have one opening on like Tuesday if you want that. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, let's go with that. It's gonna be a busy week for my teeth. That reminds me of my favorite corny joke that I didn't really get up until very recently. The joke goes like this, right? You say like, I just flew in from Milwaukee, and boy, are my arms tired. Because the implication, I didn't understand the implication of the joke, which was that you were supposed to be flapping your arms to traverse the airspace. And I didn't really get that as a kid. I was like, why? Because I was like, I went on my first airplane when I was like 7. So any time I thought about like getting it anywhere like long distance, I was like, yeah, you take a plane. Why would the implication be that you're flapping your arms like wings? Are you a bird? Is that what you are? Are you a bird? So that wasn't really an effective joke with me, but it like once I understood the punchline, it definitely gained much more charm to me. Okay, then over here. Let's reduce the kind of jankiness of this line a little bit. Oh God, yeah. That playthrough of Fallout 2 that I was talking about, like watching through, that's like a no commentary run that has 3 parts, the first of which is like 12 hours long or 9 hours long. I don't know. It's a very long video. And I'm just out here rubbing my hands like, oh boy, some very good background noise. Because the thing is, right? I only really need to pay attention when they're walking and when they're talking to just know what the hell's going on. And maybe during the stat screens every now and again, just so I have an idea of like what this guy has access to. Because I'm definitely copying this dude's build and trying it out eventually. Although that would require playing through Fallout 2 again. Although maybe I'll have a kinder opinion of it this time. Like I said, I found that a lot of Fallout 3 becomes much more bearable now that I have a fully developed brain, mostly developed brain, some marginally better developed brain. So maybe Fallout 2 will grow on me in the same way. My playthrough of Fallout 2 is actually really funny as well because it happened during I think it was like a summer vacation where I went to go see my family in Ecuador, and I brought this like super clunky old laptop I'd inherited from my dad. Right, he's the kind of guy who like buys his old work laptops and just uses them as home laptops. And because he bought one of the work laptops recently, he no longer had use for the older one, so I just played it on that, which was perfect because that computer couldn't even run like Portal 2. Like I tried to run Portal 2 on that computer and it just kind of cuffed and sputtered miserably and almost died. So not exactly a favorable prognostic. But what's really funny to me is that because I was struggling so much with my usual playstyle of just hitting everything with my bare hands, I ended up printing a guide for it. That's right, not downloading, not because like the game occupied like all the screen space, and I hadn't really quite learned the art of alt tabbing just yet. Not to mention, I don't know if that would have actually worked with the game. So what it came to is that I ended up finding a GameFAQs guide to the game. Kind of a very thorough guide, being like, okay, these are the quests. This is how you do them. This is the kind of like the order you need to go through. Like a very general kind of like handholdy guide, which was absolutely vital to my success, may I add. In any case, I ended up printing that guide out with my on like the school printer because it was like easily like 70 or so pages in like the font size that I'd chosen. So I was just like chilling by the printer for like a solid 10 minutes while this beastly stack of paper were just finished getting spit out of the printer. That was a really funny 15 minutes. I felt like I was doing something wrong, and to be fair, I probably was. But it was so funny. I was just trying so hard to look casual, like. I don't know. That happens to me a lot where I'm doing just something that isn't that's unusual, but not particularly offensive, and I'll be like, is this allowed? Is this legal? Like my brain will be sounding the alarms. I have a very hard time acting casual. Or maybe it's the phrase "act casual" that I have an issue with specifically. I don't know. I feel like if somebody was like pretend it didn't happen, I would be able to do that. But if somebody's like act casual, I would oversell it. I would definitely fumble that. I can feel that I would fumble that. Let me duplicate this ladder here. And also this part of the ladder. But yeah, God, I ended up playing through Fallout 2 during that trip to see my family, and it was a fun time. I definitely enjoyed it. It was a good day. It was a good way to kill time when I wasn't really up to anything. Okay, simplify this line here. Flip this around. Just keep bringing these around. I can't say bring it around anymore without thinking of that one video of Vegeta just screaming and then eventually doing a Fortnite emote dance. I don't know if that video is a common knowledge thing. I just can't stop thinking about it in that context. Okay, then over here. Add this one over here. I remember something that Jackie did for me one time. For that one comic where I like woke up from a nightmare, she ended up putting a the death sound from Sonic Unleashed over the image, and it just fits so well. And the thing is, I didn't recognize the audio because it had been years at that point since I'd played Sonic Unleashed. But like she said, oh yeah, it's the death scream from Sonic Unleashed, and I was like instantly like, oh my god, that's right. I don't know. There's sounds that you remember very clearly, but you occasionally it's been too long and you don't remember where exactly the sound is from. That's when you run into problems. I don't know. I get very dissatisfied when I can't remember the source or origin of something. Like if I remember a meme or a phrase or something that I'd heard uttered, but just could not remember where it was from, that bugs me really badly. I have like this need to go hunt it down and figure out what it was from. I saw this one meme the other day of like of the information gathering GF. I think it was the exact phrasing. Wait, hold up. Something about this doesn't seem right. Anyway, one of the quotes was like, "Hey guys, got any information?" And I was like, "She's just like me for real." Oh wait, no, I get it, I get it, I understand now. Okay, I see, I see, I see. Wait, no, I don't. It should be like okay. Yeah, wait, huh? Hold on. Okay, wait, no, now I get it. Now I get it. Never mind. Wait a minute. This is going to be covered by Hawk's leg. Why am I spending so much time on this? In any case, I don't think we're going to be able to finish this page today. Maybe one more tomorrow, and then we'll be able to finish with it. But if that's the case, and that's compared to the last page, which took 4 streams to finish, 2 streams is like relatively lightweight. Like it might not even take like the whole stream. Not to mention, I'll probably be able to leverage a lot of the work from this panel. Actually, I might even be able to. I might even be able to put off this final panel until the explosion part of this panel, until like the very last minute, until like the coloring phase, because but then I'd probably hate myself for it. But then again, that would be kind of funny. I'll figure it out as I go. I might have to have a little think about what I want to do for that panel. Okay, plonk this down over here. Is this right? It doesn't seem right. Okay, that seems more like it. Also, today I learned that what a binturong is, and that's an awesome beast. I feel like that thing is like the ultimate mammalian life form, you know? If you've never seen a binturong before, it looks... Imagine if like a raccoon was really big and had black fur all over. Okay, let me pull this up. And also it looked a little bit like an otter. Here, this is a binturong. I don't know, this thing is like the ultimate mammal to me. This has so many of the mammalian traits at once that it's kind of crazy. Also, I do like how crazy this dude's whiskers are. I'm a big fan of that whenever that happens. I feel like these are like if red pandas had a higher level enemy variant down the line. These things look like dire red pandas. Okay, then over here. You know, some people say that, oh, recoloring enemy assets just to make them, just for like a tougher variant of the enemy is kind of lazy. I kind of appreciate it. You know, I kind of dig on it. As long as it has like slightly different flavor text, I will forgive it. Because to some extent, it provides a little bit of like visual variety in like a different direction than just making whole new cloth enemy designs. Maybe that's lacking as an explanation. So, you know, you go to a new area, there's completely new enemies, but eventually you're like, oh man, I kind of miss fighting the slimes though. But then what's this? There's a slime, but it's purple, and you're like, oh boy, I get to see my friend Slime again. My friend Slime. And the little slime was like, but that's not all. Now I'm also stronger and can give you more experience points. And you know, it's, I don't know, if done correctly, I think it provides it doesn't stifle the feeling of progression, but rather it kind of creates a sort of cohesion along like the whole playthrough. I feel like it would be especially effective for games where variety might not be that big of a, I don't know. There's different games that have different focuses, right? I feel like in some cases you can get away with it without losing the focus of the game. And I think that's the situations where it should be deployed. Cutting too many corners isn't a good idea, but, you know, doing work for the sake of doing work is also foolish. Okay. Then over here. Put this downward. There we go. Trying to think here. I kind of just want to finish the gun, and then I think we can wrap up for today. Or wait, I think V is having a yapping stream back in like 15 minutes, so I might carry on just a little bit longer than after that. I don't know. It might also take me just that long. There's still kind of a little bit of the gun to go, so it's hard to say. What's this part? Oh, right, I did include a cannon plug at the end of it, didn't I? Forgot that was supposed to be there. I forgot that was part of its design element. Okay, then put this over here. Is that where it goes? I feel like maybe it's a little lower. Hang on, this is a little difficult to see. Let me... Oh no, I was right this first time. Sweet, alright. Wonderful. You know what I kind of wish I had? I wish there was a way to make a... I really like the little pop-ups that come during rhythm games, right? Where if you do a note on the right beat, it goes like, marvelous, perfect, stuff like that. I kind of wish I had something like that to kind of encourage me to keep going sometimes. I feel like I can see it. I can almost kind of like feel it, but I can't. It would be nice to have it be present in a less limited fashion. Okay, then plonk this down here, this up here. Hmm. Then over here. Okay. Also, just to be clear about like what the channel is going to look like for the next couple of weeks, I am very much committed to the grind of just full on five a week comic making streams for the foreseeable future, because this is going to be basically what I'm going to try and finish before, I don't know, probably towards the end of May. I feel like that's a good milestone to have. Just like I need to have this thing wrapped up toward the end of May. Okay, then over here. I even have an idea for a bid once I'm done with it. I don't know. I try not to say like I don't think this bit will be funny because then that kind of like makes it lose its own power, right? If you're like, I don't know how funny this is going to be, you need to kill that idea, right? You need to act like everything you say is the funniest thing anybody's ever thought of in the history of mankind. That's the only way to survive as a creative. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just get these ideas for jokes that aren't the funniest. They're not the most creative, right? Like some of these jokes are, and some of these things that I say and do are kind of derivative, but nevertheless, I must say them and I must create them because otherwise, it will feel like I'm like. Have you ever? Do you know the principles on which a pressure cooker operates? It's a similar idea. Unless I'm like actively cooking something in there, if I suppress that instinct, I am eventually going to explode. He died from not making an unfunny joke. Will be what will be written on my tombstone. I will explode and I will die if I do not say this stupid ass joke. And even if I come to regret it to some extent, that's fine. I can live with that. It's almost never something that I would regret saying. Just something that might not be funny. It's a real risk reward gamble. I have to try and be funny, but at the same time, it's like if it's not funny, I will be crushed. But it's almost always funny, or at least somebody always appreciates it. I've been lucky so far, but I have to like stop living like this. It's such a dangerous lifestyle. Hmm. Trying to figure out where some of these metal bars would go. Oh wait, hang on. I think I see. Huh. Okay. Yeah. 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 Okay. I see now what I must do. Okay, then the next one would be over here. And then the one after that. Can I just grab this ladder here and just plonk this one down where this other one's supposed to be? And to what extent will that work? I should save my progress also before I forget. Right, let me just like. Oh lordy, what happened there? Hang on. It just looks like a black square on the ground now. Oh lord. Alright. Then we deploy it like this. Never mind. Okay, maybe it's just faster to use the millipin. Maybe I should have considered that as an option before I started doing all this nonsense. Okay. Hold on. My phone is vibrating with a call from New Zealand, which I don't think I know anybody from there. I knew one dude from New Zealand once. Well, hang on. Was like a proper name from New Zealand like Aotearoa? I knew one dude from Aotearoa once in like elementary school, but none after that guy. That knowing people from that country was kind of like a one and done experience for me, really. Come to think of it, I know way more people from Oceania than from like the oceanic continent than I ever expected to actually know in my life. Like there was like a weirdly high number of Australians in my high school. What was up with that? Like obviously it was definitely like a coincidence, but it's just weird that it seemed to happen to me specifically. Those are the guys that taught me how to go like, yeah, nah, yeah, like that. That I got that from my Australian classmates. Like, if you hear me go like, yeah, no, or like, no, yeah, to mean respectively, yes and no, then just know that came from being raised by Australians during high school, and one British person, but that's fine. I didn't end up adopting a lot of her mannerisms. Okay, then over here. Okay, then over here. Okay, similar deal over here. Okay. Again, this section is almost completely going to be covered by Hawk's Foot, so I really shouldn't worry this much about it. But I just like to be thorough. Okay, and it's going to kind of just clonk. Let me put up Hawk's part. Okay, yep. Okay, then... Right, I also need to make the hole in the dome. Let me bring a reference picture with me. That'll be helpful. Actually, let me flip this around since it would be from the opposite perspective. Okay, that's going to be... Am I using the normal eraser? No. Okay, I'm on the wrong layer. That would explain why this is happening. Okay, then over here. Okay, erase it here. Erase it here. Erase this over here. Very good. Okay, so we got this section here, and that has two holes right above it, kind of in the shape of a heart, which is kind of cute. Maybe not so much in the shape of heart. This one's the left atrium is a little bit shallow. And then another one over here. This one kind of bean shaped. And then we got one last little one over here, which we've dutifully completed. Very good. Okay. We can erase these couple of lines here too. Alright, hell of a job if I do say so myself. And hang on, I'm missing like a little chunk right here from the bottom. And I guess we'd have to land over here, but that's fine. I'm ready to like just make this a red background and then just have it be a flash of white back here. Yeah, that seems pretty good. I think we should be starting her self-titled yapping stream anytime soon. So let's go see what she's up to. I think she's probably still on her starting soon screen. Yeah, no. All right, we'll be going over there soon enough. Should I just like draw a quick little doodle before that? I don't know, something to cap off the day. I don't feel like starting the next panel just yet. Although, maybe I could hang on. I could just like go through and check for continuity errors like this one. This one's not so much a continuity error; it's just like a line mistake. Not even really a mistake. It's just that I forgot. I could also just kind of go whole hog on this bad boy, and I mean, how much effort would it take really to get a lay of the land of the? Hang on, Forgore, yeah, bro, Forgore. In my stream, straight up remembering it, and by it, well, haha. Let's just say I forgore. uh, Okay, maybe what we can do. I mean, maybe let me put this one a little bit lower. Why is this not erasing properly? There we go. I knew you had it in you. Okay. And then over here in the distance, we'll have the cabin, so that's fine. Okay. Have this over here. Very quick, very crappy background. I shouldn't say that. Very quick, very serviceable background. Just the barest essentials needed to sustain life on this wretched planet. This thing and the obelisk over here. Bro, thank you, Bunny, for clipping that. I need to start whipping out, can somebody clip that more often? I feel like that's the one thing that I'm lacking, is that I lack the presence of mind to ask people to clip the stupid things that I yap about. No, that it's not fair to call them stupid. The enlightened things that I talk about. I'm sorry. I'm not even gonna bash myself down for that one. Listen, I straight up that one was kind of fire. Okay, and this one's gonna be kind of like this. Another one right here, and then over here. Okay, and then they'll be completely obliterated in the next panel. Fabulous. All right. B still hasn't started her stream yet, so I want you to imagine me almost like in those like low crouches that sprinters do before they go in for like the 100-meter dash. I want you to imagine me in one of those, except that I'm also furiously scribbling in a sketch pad right off to the side. I might as well fix some of this slapdash grass texture that I've got here. We can do better. We can do better. In the time that has been afforded to us, we can do better. Interestingly enough, grass texture like this isn't really so much about the quality as it is the quantity. If you just kind of keep adding noise, it'll eventually look like grass, which is kind of incredible from a semiotics kind of perspective. Yeah, what? That background took like, what, 5 minutes? Although I guess I do need to have some fence posts here. The music right now really adds to the gotta go fast spree, right? Yeah, I mostly choose like barber beats and chiller stuff, but there are also just some albums that I just normally listen to, like this one from Too Mellow, who recently released yet another banger. I don't remember I think that the name of the newest album that he made is Seek Your Sound, which I've also really been enjoying. Seek Your Sound is a great album if what you want from your albums is a 5 minute long rap about Ballad, the kaiju monster from the that is like relatively obscure compared to compared to like Godzilla and such. And it's a banger. It's a really good song. Unfortunately, I don't know if any of the songs from Seek Your Sound are on YouTube or Spotify. I mean, they might be on Spotify. I don't know. I don't have a Spotify, and that's one of the few things. Spotify and TikTok are like the two things that I will try to avoid having for as long as humanly possible. I'm willing to bear many pains to avoid having to get either of those, I think. Okay, then this one over here, this one over here. Because I see the thing is, I'm not entirely against like music streaming services. Obviously, I use Bandcamp. Staying strong, yeah, exactly, Jupiter. Like obviously, I'm not against like music streaming services. I do use Bandcamp pretty often to listen to the albums that I've bought, but that's a critical distinction. I've bought those albums; they are mine. I have their files. I have their family. No, I have their files. They are like my albums now. I can't say that with like Spotify garbage. Or with Spotify's business model, perhaps that would be the better phrasing. Seek Your Sound is on streaming though. Fuck yeah! Alright, congratulations to people who use Spotify. Seek Your Sound is apparently on streaming. Go listen to Biolante by Too Mellow from the album Seek Your Sound. Alright, also V's live, so we're gonna go like right into that. Alright, I will be back tomorrow with more of this. Catch you later. Bye.